Hello, in this video I will be explain what is scope in JavaScript, how many type of scope in JavaScript and how does it work and what is closure and how does it work or what is promises and how does it work. So let's start with the scope. So basically scope in JavaScript is the context in which, let me write the definition first. What is scope? Okay. What is scope in JavaScript? Is Scope in JavaScript is the context in which variable are visible or accessible or reference. If variable if variable is not in the context it's not available to use. Also scope है JavaScript have different types of scope. First one is the block scope. First one is the global scope. Global scope are the variable and function accessible everywhere in the code. Global scope variable declare scope variable and function are accessible everywhere in the code. Like if we define a variable, let name equal to Arjun. So this Arjun is set in the global scope. If we try to access it anywhere in the code like that, if we define this scope, so this variable is accessible outside here also, name, and also inside the scope also. So this name variable is a global variable in the global scope, so it will access in here also and inside the block scope also. Let me running the code node generation, and what was the file name, revision. So it will print one time. Okay, outside of the global scope, and this is global scope, and I am in the block scope. Or let's say local scope. So this variable access everywhere. But if I define another variable, let another I am another variable, and if I try to access this variable inside the block, so this another variable is only available in that scope only. But if we try to access it from outside of this block, so it will give us an reference error that variable name is not defined. So let's we get the error, and if we comment it out, and so here we get the inside, not get the error. And the second type is modules scope or file scope, mean variable and function defined in a file are only accessible in that file only. So this is a module. So I have declared a variable, let name equal to Anurag. So this variable is only accessible in that file only. But before for using it, so I have to export it here. Okay, and third one is functional scope. Function scope. So variable defined inside a function only accessible that in that functional scope only. Variable defined in a function defined inside function are only accessible in that function. Are only accessible in their scope. Okay, let me show you. Function greet user and let name equal to Priya and return good morning, and if we print it name and console the greet user. So what's happening here, this variable inside in that function scope, so this variable is only accessible in that scope only. But if we try to access, we can't use this variable outside of the scope. So also there is a same name, so name, here is the variable name and here is also a, so this is a concept of variable shadowing. It will not conflict the name because it have different scope and this variable declared in different scope. So we printing. Also there is a one more scope type, a block scope. Variable and function are declared inside a scope are only accessible that scope only. Let I am visible is visible true. So this is visible have their own scope. So this is only accessible inside that scope only. Let me now I have clearly explained what is scope. Now I will be explaining what is closure and how does it work. So closure is a concept in JavaScript that remember the lexical scope variable after function execute after the execution of after function or closures is the combination of function and lexical environment meant within which function declare or in simple term outer function inner function remember the variables of their lexical scope. So function outer and let outer name outer I am count 0 and return a function inside that scope counter plus. So this is a outer function and variable declare in their scopes, but after executing it inner function remember their lexical environment variables. So we can how can we use outer. Also we have to call in this function also, and it will print counter, and again if we call it will print 1. So why this we have to return it also. We take the reference const counter and counter in. Now it will so now it will incrementing counter 1 2 3 and remembering their inner lexical scope variable. What is promises in JavaScript? For which promises in JavaScript are used to handle asynchronous tasks object in JavaScript that represent eventual completion or section completion or rejection of a asynchro task. एसिंक्रोनस टास्क है और क्या है भाई टास्क है writing a better way handling tasks that take time like fetching data from the server or promises have three state pending task in progress pending होगा और what was else pending fulfill task is completed task is rejected. So let me show you the code example of asynchronous task or promises. Promise my promise. So we have to use new keyword and constructor will take a executor function. Inside that function we pass another two argument reject promises resolve reject or resolve है reject है. Okay, let's take condition success true. If success then we resolve the task is resolved, else reject fail to resolve task is rejected. It's rejected. And to handle the promises we use dot then method for fulfill promises and dot catch method for the rejected promises. So let's see my promise dot then also data and we also data data also catch the promises error, so console error. Now if I try to console.log, so our task is resolved, and if I make the variable false, now it will print the catch block, and so task is rejected.